Green, and I am going to yield a minute of my time to the former chairwoman of this subcommittee, and Wagner, the author, along with you, of the legislation that is the subject of today's hearing. But again, thank you for holding this important hearing. Today we will hear from a wide variety of witnesses, including state grantees, a former HUD administrator for the program, and the counsel to the Inspector General, who has been involved in many investigations and audits of the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. We will also hear from our colleagues, Chairman Green and Congresswoman Wagner, on their working draft of a bill to codify the CDBG-DR program. The bill seeks to balance our shared interest in quickly getting money to the people who are recovering from natural disasters and the need for oversight of the distribution of billions of dollars in disaster relief. When disaster strikes, it is important that help comes quickly and that communities have a clear understanding of where to turn and how to access CDBG-DR funds. The CDBG-DR program is one of several ways Congress and the federal government assist the local recovery process. Specifically, the program is designed to address unmet needs in our most vulnerable communities, to help low and moderate income people and small businesses recover fully from the most severe natural disasters. Congress first appropriated CDBG-DR funds in 1993 to help with recovery efforts following Hurricane Andrew. Since then, Congress has appropriated $87 billion in supplemental funds for CDBG-DR. Recently, the supplemental appropriations for disaster relief exceed the annual appropriation for HUD's Community Development Block Grant Program. There are too many dollars at stake to manage this program on an ad hoc basis. One of our best allies in the effort to make sure disaster recovery money is spent efficiently and effectively is the HUD Office of Inspector General. The HUD OIG has spent years conducting audits and investigations of the CDBG-DR program and advocating for codification of the program. We're grateful for that work, and I look forward to hearing testimony from Mr. Kirkland about the OIG's findings. Every time Congress passes another supplemental appropriation for CDBG-DR, HUD uses CDBG program staff to administer and oversee the distribution of the funding. This program is too transitory. With no permanent infrastructure, there is a higher chance of waste, fraud, and abuse. I understand that no disaster is the same, and it is important that the affected communities are able to put this money to best use. But it is crucial for the program to have the proper controls in place. We must ensure that money is spent for recovery efforts and that the action plans approved by HUD are followed. There are so many stories about grantees using disaster recovery money for purposes outside of the scope of the action plan approved by HUD. For example, Louisiana is unable to account for nearly $700 million meant to be used to elevate homes in a flood zone. In another Louisiana case, $10 million allocated for housing purposes was used to build a new wing on the local World War II museum. Mississippi used recovery funds to build roads and plumbing infrastructure in an area where no one lives. New York and New Jersey pooled unused disaster recovery money into a slush fund. This is not how the program is meant to work. HUD's disaster recovery program is supposed to help rebuild homes and infrastructure damaged by a natural disaster and provide assistance to affected business owners with an emphasis on helping low and moderate income areas. But those requirements are often waived and money winds up being used for other purposes. It's my hope that through today's hearing, we can better understand how to maintain the flexibility needed at the local level to apply disaster recovery money to unmet needs while increasing oversight of the program. I applaud my colleagues for their bipartisan effort, and I want to thank the HUD OIG for its work to identify vulnerabilities in this important program. Communities affected by natural disasters need our help, and they're counting on us to get this right. And with that, I will now yield 1 minute to the gentlelady from Missouri, Mrs. Wagner.
I thank the ranking member, my friend Andy Barr, who is the ranking member of the Oversight and Investigation Committee, for yielding time. And Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you. You have been a great partner in this endeavor, and I appreciate your willingness to work with me to make sure disaster relief is being spent on the victims of natural disasters who need assistance. When a natural disaster strikes, the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program helps rebuild our communities. These relief funds provide essential emergency aid and jumpstart the recovery process for those most in need. Last Congress, the Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigation began a bipartisan effort examining ways to improve the CDBG-DR program. Mr. Chairman, I am proud to say that today's legislation is a product of that work, and I look forward to working with you again this Congress to codify the CDBG-DR program. With that, I yield back.
Thank you. I will now yield time.